Hey guys, Conceptual BJ here, John here. So today we're making a Q&A video about big guys attacking from close guard. So as we know, the big guys like being on top. They don't like being on the bottom position. I've been working with Brett on half guard details to help me be more comfortable on the bottom, attacking from the bottom, reversing from the bottom. But as I've noticed in my flow rolls, I end up in closed guard a lot. I'll flow to the armbar, triangle, omoplata, the very basic setup. But I just want to know and learn more ways to attack, even though I may not be the most flexible or savvy guard player. So I'll give it over to Brett.
Okay. So basically we're dealing with closed guard attacks. So one of the things is I'm in closed guard. It depends on John's grip position. So if he has both hands at my hips here, it's going to be a lot easier to break his posture because there's nothing posturing from holding forward. So if I literally just hold his hips and I move my legs like up and around, like instead of straight in, I'll go up and around. He had to post on the mat just to avoid from falling, right? And I know it seems like, it doesn't work. They really have to posture back to avoid it. So I'm not trying to pull him like straight in, but if he's not having a frame on the chest here, like most people would be here, or they'd be blocking my hips, like scrunching down here like this. These are the most common positions, at least in no-gi. So here, if his hand's up here, like this, now I can really attach to this and start to arm drag and set up different attacks from here. I can also overhook, but if his hands are down, there's a couple different options that I like to use. One, I'll just block the hands and I'll move my knees up like this and bring my knees towards me. And so now I can dig in, and I like to go to the shoulder crunch position. You can hit arm locks and different attacks from here. So like if I were to, you can also hit sweeps and stuff, but basically you can just keep your head tight here. Using this forearm as a frame, I can hip out, so keep my knee close. You don't want to step too far, because then they can stand up. But you want to scoot out to where my knee's close on my side here, like this. I'm going to bring my knee on the top of his back. My other knee is going to go inside the shoulder, so if you rotate, just go straight on. Okay. So let's see. So we're in this position here. I'm going to scoot out on my hip, and I'm going to touch my shoulder to my ear, like here to pinch his arm, so I control the rotation. So if I just do this, if John tries to rotate his hand, it's going to be pretty hard. Like it's not going to stop him, but it should slow him down. And I'm going to reinforce it with this on his back and gripping around my elbow. I'm going to take this knee, put it into his shoulder. Now when I close my grip, I can pull this down to the mat, and I'm going to do like I'm doing a sit-up. So make sure your neck is on the end of the lever by his wrist. I don't want it up here. I'm going to roll his elbow to where it's pointing up towards the ceiling. So I roll this, grab my elbows, pull it down to the mat, and then I do a crunch. So when his hands are at my hips, if for whatever reason I can't get his weight over his hands, like I'm trying to do like a rainbow motion, I'm not trying to pull him straight towards me, I'm trying to lift him up and then over. So I block his hands, lift him up and over. So now I can break his posture, right? A lot of times if they're really strong, maybe I can't get to that, he's a little strong. I kind of like to do what's kind of like a half attempt at a wrist lock, but it doesn't usually wrist lock most people. It gets them to open their elbows. So I'm going to block his hand so he keeps his hand there. I'm going to reach through like an arm drag grip, but behind his elbow. And I'm going to start pulling myself in. I'm going to crunch myself, so now his wrist is kind of stuck here like this. So a lot of people, just to alleviate the pressure, they'll start to take this off. And then now I have like an arm drag option here. Because I'm in closed guard, it's going to be hard to sit up and go all the way to his back. You can still do it. You can slowly work to the back. It's a little bit easier in gi. But another option that you have here is you have arm locks, triangles, and pendulum sweeps. So it depends on where he keeps his weight. So if he keeps his weight back like this, so if he sits up, I can sit up with him and grab around his back, and now I'm like at a side guard here. It's a lot harder for him to sit up here, and I can start going towards his back. If John stays more square with me, I can grab behind his neck and put my elbow into his shoulder so they can't drive into me. The reason why I need a block is so that I'm gonna go to a side guard here like this and take my legs over his shoulder. So if you move at this angle, here. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna grab around his head. John's not gonna stay here forever, so I can't wait too long in this position. He's gonna start trying to posture up or push out. But because my collar tie is on this side, it's hard for him to push it off. Like he can't use his other hand to really push it off that easy because he's trying to like posture up. You can either use that hand to base or to push off the collar tie. It's really hard to stay strong. So I'm gonna take this side leg, put it on the hip. Make sure that you're blocking his shoulder with your elbow and forearm. Because if I don't, he could just drive in. And now it's really hard to use my legs. You can even hear my breath. So I'm gonna block his shoulder, put my foot on his hip, close my knee. I'm gonna move out to this angle like a 45-degree angle. And now I'm gonna throw this leg over his shoulder and pinch my legs together. So once I pinch my legs together, John's pretty stuck here, and it depends on like what he wants to give me basically. If he tries to pull back, he gives me the arm lock. So I'm here, my elbow's already under, I just hip up. It's a quick arm lock, like a shotgun arm lock with his arm under my armpit. You can also switch to regular arm lock. If I get over the shoulder, and John tries to pull this arm out here, I have the triangle now. So I'm gonna try to reach through under this armpit, put my foot on the hip. I'm gonna get this angle here, and I'm gonna lock this triangle, my feet up, and I'm gonna turn my feet out to get the tap. The other option, third option you have is that far side arm. So we'll go through it again. So I'm gonna lock his arm, at his wrist so he can't just pummel out. I'm gonna sit up, grab behind the tricep. If you need to, you can pull in with two hands. But first I need to get this tight. So I'm gonna keep this here, sit up, try to bring put as much pressure on his wrists by sitting into it. Here. And then now he wants to release that pressure. So when he releases that pressure, I'm gonna drag him this way. And I want to immediately grab across his head. So he tries to posture up. I'm going to keep this frame. Make sure this elbow is in here. It's here to block him from driving forward. Yeah, so foot goes on the hip. I take this leg, do a pendulum so I can get this angle here. Leg over the shoulder. I close my guard. Make sure you're pinching your knees here. If my knees are like this, he can just escape this, drive his shoulder through, right? So when I get over the shoulder, I want to pinch my knees here really tight. Another option I like to use is go under this arm here. You have an arm lock right here. Tap. So you pretty much have a double arm attack depending on how he reacts. If he tries to pull his head out, he pulls his head out this way. You have the arm lock. If he pulls his shoulder, his arm out, you have the arm triangle, right? Or you have an arm lock too as well from the triangle position, right? You go here, arm lock, pull it to the side. All these options are really good to open up just from that position. John had one hand here. I'm doing the same thing basically, right? But now I'm gonna do it from a 2-on-1. I'm gonna do an arm drag from the 2-on-1. He might be framing me with this other hand, like this. I'm gonna go inside this hand here, move this to the side, and then pull armpit, same thing, right? And he's not gonna sit here through all that. I have to, another good point is that I have to constantly pull my knees to my chest to keep his posture broken. If I'm just lazy with my legs, he can pull up. So if I'm pulling him here and I'm lazy with my legs, he can posture up easier. But if I pull in my legs and grab his collar, try to posture up here, it's really hard. If I don't use my legs and I just have this posture up, it's a lot easier. So make sure you're pulling your knees to your chest once you have the arm drag position. All right, guys, so those are some good options from closed guard. I hope they help you. And John was asking about how they help your game as well. Remember, to trap the wrists, you can set up the wrist lock to open the elbows to get the arm drag positions, pull in with your legs and everything. These details are really important when you're trying to attack from closed guard and to break their posture from closed guard and set up your own attacks. So make sure you practice these, implement them. There's a lot of different options that you can have other than this. Obviously, these are just a few, but these are some things that help me and are a little bit higher percentage than a lot of normal attacks that you see, standard arm lock attacks and stuff like that from guards. So hope it helps you. I'll hand it over to John to close out.
So thanks to Brett for sharing some awesome knowledge on how to attack from the close guard, especially as a bigger guy. I can use the power of my legs to bring in my partner in for those attacks. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if there's any videos you guys want to make in the future, and we'll see you. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, guys.